circle moment that I've experienced today. During the last time the Unity Conference was held here at the Raleigh Convention Center, I was presenting for the COVID-19 pandemic program at the Commission of Indian Affairs. And I was so nervous. And I remember walking this way and being in the lobby and just telling Mama, oh, I'm so nervous. And we're walking by, and Miss Nadine and Miss Shirley sitting there. And she knew in that moment exactly what I needed to hear. She said, Paige, this is just the beginning for you. You will be speaking in front of hundreds of people. And today, here I am, closing out my reign, where I have accomplished just that. Not just in honor of Aunt Shirley, not just in honor of my grandma Dorothy, but in honor of all of those who have paved the way for us to be where we are today. Because how many times can you say that you have been in a room full of Native people like this? This is power, y'all. This is power. And I'm like, this talent is lovely, and y'all heard it before, but this is power. And I just want you all to recognize that as you continue throughout the conference, as you go to these workshops, as you get this information that the United Tribes has planned so hard working and organizing this conference for, I pray that not only does it touch your heart, it touches your mind, it touches your spirit, and that we're able to unite together once again as the Native nations in North Carolina. So for the final time, I present to you Covered in Love. The art of quilting is a time-honored tradition among many tribes within our Native communities, and has oftentimes been called the fabric that holds the stories of our elders. Well, today, I have the privilege of sharing one of those life-changing stories with you all. Allow me to take you back to a simpler time and place as a young girl has her first glimpse of a quilt in the making. On a cool and wintry night, she and her cousin Dorothy were given a special task. These two young girls were responsible for holding the quilt in place so the quilter could stitch it together with the old pedal sewing machine. Don't pull it so fast now, their Aunt Bridget would say, as the two girls played around the pedal like it was nothing but a game. But even then, these two young girls were so thankful to have helped their aunt in such a small way. Because times were tough, Native women would use quilts not only as a source of warmth, but as a source of income when needed. Regardless, our people were always so grateful for everything they had. Even now, I can hear the elders singing, "There's a roof up above me, I've a good place to sleep. There's food on my table and shoes on my feet. You gave me your love, Lord, and a fine family. Thank you, Lord, for your blessings on me." Even though this was our young quilter's first interaction with quilting, she knew that it would not be her last. Her true love for quilting finally took root when Miss Elizabeth Lee, or as everyone called her, Aunt Lee, invited her to the quilting circle. Now, Aunt Lee was a strict quilter. If she saw your stitches wasn't straight, she'd pull them out and have you do it again, because her stitches was near perfect. And after watching the hands of the masters at work all day, Aunt Lee gave our young quilter clear instructions. She said, "You take this hoop and you carry it home, and what I got in there, you quilt in it, because you got to learn how to quilt before you can quilt." So she took her quilt home and she began to learn how to quilt. Many years passed, and our young girl eventually finds herself a husband. One day, her mother-in-law, Miss Linda, asked her, "Well, why don't you make your husband a quilt?" And just like that, she created her very first quilt from start to finish for the man she loved. This quilting origin story belonged to none other than Miss Shirley Freeman of the Waccamaw tribe. Aunt Shirley, as we called her, sat in quilting circles as a young child, as a woman, and then as an elder herself, who continued to teach other young women the art of quilting and show them the true power their hands possessed. When I sat down with Aunt Shirley, I asked her, "Why do you love quilting so much?" "It's simple," she said. "It's therapy. When I need to settle my mind or spend some time with the Lord in prayer, I just sit down and quilt and watch it all come together. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Aunt Shirley began creating and distributing hand-sewn masks in their communities. As a sign of our continued resilience, she took those scraps and she made this beautiful quilt. This quilt that represents our resistance in the face of adversity. As many influential friends, elders, and family members in her tribal community passed on, Aunt Shirley held true to her love for God, quilting, and her native people. Just as Jesus covered us in his blood, our ancestors have created quilts to cover us in their love. And that's why we are still here. The art of quilting is the tradition and is the reason our culture has continued this long. And we, as Native youth, must ensure that this culture continues strong because we're still here. We're still here. Though our spirit's been broken, we are alive, we are survivors. We are more than conquerors. We are still fighting for our voice to be heard. We walk as the Wakamasuans. We walk as the Okinichi. We walk as the Halawasaponi. We walk as Kuhea.